We're Kim and Al. We have been planning our escape from a fast-paced corporate life since we met 10 years ago. Freedom 45. This year, we finally pulled the ripcord. We quit our jobs, sold our home in the city, bought a property in the sticks, and are building an off-grid home ourselves. We're excited to share our experience as we create our new life on the North River. Hi guys, so I just wanted to give you a little bit of detail about where we're going to be living and how that's going to look while we're building our house. So this is day 3 of us being out here, and we have a 22-foot trailer, which is a Freedom Express, and we're going to be living on the property while we build. In addition to that, we also have a 20-foot shipping container that we bought as well, and that's going to hold the rest of our stuff that will also be on the property. And our plan is to be off-grid not only when we finally build our house and have that completed, but we also want to be off-grid while we're living here, because from the YouTube do-it-yourselfers that we've been following, it looks like that this build could take us, you know, as long as 3 years, give or take. And so we wanted to be prepared for that and kind of learn from their example and recognize that we could be out here a lot longer than we anticipate. And we also don't want to feel rushed or just scrambling to get things done. We do want to take this at our own speed, and we recognize that there's going to be a lot of things that come up that we can't control, and so we want to be able to roll with those punches and be comfortable in the meantime. We spent a few years doing different trips and things so that we got an idea for the kind of trailer that we were most comfortable with and what we liked and what we didn't like. And so this is what we ended up with, and we're pretty pleased so far. We're very comfortable and we love the amount of space. Okay, so for the tour, this is our queen-size bed, and you can see we've got lots of windows around, lots of storage. That big window at the end, it's facing the river. We kind of pointed it in that direction on purpose. It's beautiful during the day, beautiful at night. We're pretty excited about that. The queen size bed, we actually put our mattress from home on there, so we upgraded that. Very comfy. There is storage as well underneath. And then if we come around this way, we've got a kick out with storage above and a nice big window, and then a couch with that turns into a bed, and there's also storage underneath there. And then if we move over here into the kitchen, that's a bigger than standard fridge, which is pretty cool. And then that's the door to get outside. And then this is our storage up there, and then we have a microwave as well as a 15-inch TV. Nice, pretty big countertop with a double sink, and then more storage underneath, and an oven as well as a stove top. And then if we go in here, this is our bathroom. So in here we have a skylight in the shower, and it's a pretty good sized shower. And then this is our vanity and sink with storage underneath again. And then that is our little toilet with more storage in behind. The toilet is actually porcelain, which is pretty great. I know it's a pretty small space, but the idea was always that we wanted to live tiny, and the house that we're building is going to be a lot smaller than the one that we lived in Toronto. And by the time we are done building it, after living in this, it's going to feel like a mansion. Excited about the adventure of living in a smaller space and spending more time outside and just doing everything at our own pace. So yeah, I hope you...
folks. This is day 9 of the longest Saturday. So amongst the many things that we have to do, and we really are starting, well, I can't really say ground up, like we're living, what did we say the other day? Not living hard, living somewhat soft, but soft rough, we'll say. Soft roughing it. We have battery power, we have a little Honda generator for AC. Thanks to Elon Musk and Starlink, no affiliation. We have intertubes, but right now at this moment I'm working on getting some not necessarily potable water, and we'll get into the well and the steps we have to take to make sure that that's safe. We're really just looking more for water that will be safe to shower in and wash dishes in. So at the moment we've been using buckets to flush the toilet into the black water holding tank, and we'll also be building a solution for that as well that we'll share. But for now what I'm working on is the filtered water, essentially using a biological sand filter. So anyways, now we're going to start just getting sand and putting this whole thing together. We're making a biological sand filter. This is a temporary measure. We don't need a whole bunch of volume and output from this. We just want to be able to filter some river water, clean out any of the little bits and goodies and things that might clog up the filter in the trailer, and basically get ourselves to a point where we have some water. So what we have is a bucket. Right now I'm going to drill holes, just 2 concentric circles of holes in these 2 layers. Then I'll flip this over. I'll fill it first with the heavy gravel, which is 3/4 inch. Then after that, I will use the next layer, which is this river sand. It's a mix of coarse sand and pea-sized gravel. Then I'm going to get a bag of limestone screens we have sitting over by the house. And then the last layer is going to be this finer sand here. And my understanding is that once you've percolated water through it and it stays wet, that there'll be some bacteria that's going to form like a black slick. It would be counterintuitive if you didn't realize that it's beneficial. It kind of looks gross. It's like a pond slime. But that is a biological filter that eats bad bacteria and anything that might be in the water. So that will filter out any bacteria, protozoans, obviously any of the particulate in the water. That will make sure that what we have left dripping out of the bottom of this into another bucket is water clean enough to be doing dishes and to shower in. It does not take care of viruses. To go that extra little bit, we'll pick up some chlorine, the same kind of chlorine that you use for your pool. I can't remember off the top of my head what the mixture is, but you add a little bit of that same chlorine you would use to treat your pool into that water, and that will kill any of the viruses or anything that might still be left over after the filtering. And that's it. We'll get to it. Do is sit this roughly on top of here so that the sand filter does not slide into the bucket, otherwise it will fit inside. We don't want that. And that is good enough for rock and roll. And what I'm going to do now is go and get some actual water to dump into this, and we'll see how it works. Alright, so now we're pouring water into the filter. I'm not sure if you can pick this up on the mic, but you'll start to hear it making its way through and dripping. There it is. And I just saw that the amount of sand, like as it's filling in the cracks below and that, it starts to recede a little bit, so I just added a bit more. Oh, getting a little out of hand there, wasting good water. But the truth is I don't expect this to be too clean this first round, because you have to wash water through just to kind of rinse out any of the remaining dust from the gravel and the limestone screenings. So we'll take a look right now and we'll see if, and here I'll show you the water before. So this is the water from the river, which is always going to be a little cloudy because the whole area is a clay basin. And so now, having gone through first round, sand filter, which is not light. You'll see it's a horrible murky mess. So that is round one. We're gonna have to keep rinsing this through until we get through all this extra, like the silt and the sand that's in the actual filter. Once that washes all through, it should start to clear up. In most of the videos that I've watched online, this is how it starts. It looks pretty gross, and it is kind of gross. We're not gonna obviously use this in the trailer. So we'll just keep rinsing it until it gets clean. And then hopefully this is nice and clear when we're done. So you'll find out along with us. So far, so good. It's taken a lot more buckets than I would have thought to rinse out all the gross. But now the water's coming out pretty clean at the bottom. I did make the mistake though of drilling holes in the second bucket. The idea was just to sit this on top of this filter sand, pour water on top so that it could trickle down in, but the holes I drilled were too large, so it ended up still kind of flooding over the second pail that has all the filtration in it. So what I did is took coffee filters and just lined the bottom and then put down some large river stone just to sit down on top of the filters to keep them from floating up. And that seems to be doing it. The water isn't, you know, filling up around the edge of the bucket and overflowing like it was when I first tried it. All right, here's the finished product. It's pretty clear. Again, we're not drinking this, no chug-a-lug, just for dishes and for shower well. So once we have the well and we've had it tested, then we're going to switch to using the well for the water supply for the trailer and then ultimately for the house.
I heard that you walked out again. I heard that you cried. Come this way, let me be a friend. My home's open wide. We can live here. We can die.
So exciting news. Today is riding lawnmower day. We just got a notification that our riding lawnmower is in. We've been waiting for it for about 2 weeks. With COVID, everything's been kind of slow. Grass is very high, so I'm really pumped because I've never had a riding lawnmower before, and I honestly just can't wait. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Moving up here, we basically have the bare essentials, and once we build our house, we're going to be starting from scratch and just deciding what we want for that space. And little bit by little bit, we're getting set up here and we're feeling really good about it. So.
So we're going to talk a little bit about the more grisly, less glamorous aspects of living off-grid. This is our black water temporary tank. So actually this week we have someone coming to visit us to have a look at the filter bed and a mantle around the filter bed with your classic rock and pipe leaching field. But what we've been doing in the meantime, rather than wanting to or having to drive our trailer into the RV park and pumping it out over and over, and the pain in the bottom that can be to have to hook up the trailer and tow it into town. We did is we got these barrels, and some of them are for catching water, some of them are for creating a gray water leaching field, but this one has been purposed for our black water sewage from the trailer. One thing I never thought of is I didn't factor into this whole project chemistry. One of the problems is this particular barrel is made from high density polyethylene. Just about nothing glues it or seals to it or bonds to it, including itself, so it's just not a really easy material to work with. What I have is a rubber grommet, and this is an ABS trap valve, just like you would see on any regular RV. And I took a length of 3-inch PVC pipe, or sorry, ABS pipe, and I used regular ABS glue to seal the pipe into this gate valve, and then that ABS pipe slides into this grommet. The grommet I placed into the hole that I had originally made for this device, the gate valve. But the big issue was, again, I used some silicone hoping that it would just kind of seal it in and snug it up nice and tight. But even as it was curing, and the next day I could tell that it did not bond whatsoever. I could spin it around, and the last thing we wanted was to tip this thing upright, to put it into the truck, to bring it in, to dump it out, and have the valve pop out and Lord have you. The only thing I have left to do, as you can see right now, it won't pull out, and it's pretty snug. But I need to lift up this flap all the way around, and I'm going to put a big bead of silicone and just overdo it all the way around, just to seal this up and keep it from wiggling back and forth so that there's no chance of it leaking around the edges and that. And that should make this pretty safe overall to haul our sewage to the dump site, get rid of it, and then add, rinse, repeat for as long as we need to until we get our field bed in front of the old farmhouse.